Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition or episode of Parking Lot Thoughts. So, I woke up this morning feeling really good, actually. Woke up feeling like 90%, which is something that doesn't happen for me very often. Today was a max effort or heavy effort. I don't know if it's a max effort. All these terms are kind of silly. Um, but a heavy effort, lower body day. So I was pretty happy, pretty excited actually, because I felt like I had every exercise available to me. There was nothing that was feeling bad. Like my shoulders felt good, so I could even squat with a straight bar, which I've done once in like the last 4 years. Due to injuries, and then only been training for the 6 months. But so was feeling good, and got the wild hair to deadlift, and good things happened with the deadlift today. So I actually PR'd my deadlift at 425 pounds. It's always been like my weak lift. I was good at it in high school, and then I just kind of stopped doing it in favor of doing bodybuilding type training and just banging and clanging. In any event, that's the most I've ever done in my entire life, which is always a very, very cool, fun feeling. I am almost bouncing off the walls now, just because I, there's been a lot of times lately where I did not think, if yes, that I'd ever necessarily be able to hit those kind of weights again. A year ago, I was pretty broke down, and just trying to find my way back to being able to do any exercise whatsoever. So I've been training for about 6 months, getting back into lifting. And that was after a almost 3 year, 34 month layoff. I could do the math, but I'm not going to, here in the parking lot at Day and Night Fitness in beautiful Monticello, Indiana. Anyhow, so there was like a 3 year gap there before that didn't even lift at all. And what's kind of blowing my mind is the idea that I'm like, in all actuality, I'm better at deadlifting, which some say is the best measure of strength, now than when I was consistently training for the first 17, 18 years of my lifting career that had no break whatsoever. Was I focused back then necessarily on peak strength? No, but I was lifting consistently all the time. And I have worked out for 6 months again, and I just beat that PR for the deadlift, which, so I got thinking about that on the walk out here to the car. Got a few reasons why I really feel like I have done that. I've been very submaximal with a lot of my lifts, with the deadlifts and the squats I've been doing. I'm looking for like good reps and lots of reps instead of work up to a heavy set of 10, on one of those and just be done. A lot of times in the past I would do some hit type training, so I'd work up to like one set of heavy squats, might be 6 to 10 reps. That would be a squat workout. Now I'm trying to hit 25 good lifts. That was first just doing a 5x5 moving upwards. Kind of got to a point where I got bored out of my mind doing that, so have switched that over now to a 8 sets of 3 for the squats, doing it more in a speed squatting fashion. So I've been looking for the stimulus and not the numbers. For example, I just pulled 425 on my deadlift. 3 days ago, Tuesday, I just did my speed squats with 205 pounds on a safety squat bar. Not impressive at all, and I'm almost wondering if I need to go lighter. But I'm looking for the stimulus and not the numbers. And it seems to be working. That's not a heavy squat, but for me at all. But I pulled, a good deadlift, and those things are very correlated. I've been doing a lot of position deadlifts, so I've always had issues since I've been out of high school about just getting down and feeling comfortable getting down and grabbing a deadlift bar. There's been a lot of tightness, whatever, weakness in the posterior chain. So I've been really, really focused on doing that. One thing I've been working in is, I call them position deadlifts. So I make sure at least once a week I am trying to, sometimes twice a week, get down into the deadlift position. So that might mean loading up one plate on the bar for deadlifts and just going down, doing some reps, forcing my body to be in those positions, because with the style of training I'm doing, I'm not doing a heavy deadlift very often, but I figure if I am used to being down in position to do the deadlift, I'll be able to do it better. Just as hard as it has always been for me to get down into deadlift, to do deadlifts, I figure I can do a few reps with 135 on the bar, if nothing else, get down into the position. That's not going to hamper the other stuff I'm doing. I don't think I'm ever going to be the guy that wants to do, 5 sets of 5 of heavy deadlifts. That's just not my style, not what I want to do. But those have been working really well, I think, on getting me down to the bar and being able to get tight once I'm down at the bar to be able to actually do something with the bar. And on top of that, I've been adding post-workout stretching back in. For a long time, I didn't really do that, and I don't know how much that's been helping. I think it has been helping me get into position on deadlifts. It's easier to bend over. So anything that, since I got out of high school, everything that involves bending over has gotten progressively harder. One thing, being a track guy in high school, all through middle school, I was constantly being forced to stretch. So now I've added that back in post-workout, sometimes on my days off. Nothing too intense with that, just normal static stretching, 10-30 seconds, whatever, just trying to get a little bit more mobility and flexibility to get down into the position. I feel like that's been helping a lot. Another thing that's been helping a lot with the deadlifts, I feel like, is just focusing on getting a good posture and position. So I'm just focusing on getting my back into a nice neutral locked in position, and then letting the deadlift happen, and just staying in that position. And then also I have been experimenting with my stance more than I have been with my conventional deadlift. Seems like I really like going with a closer stance with the conventional deadlift and not even trying to use legs. So in the past, I think I was going too wide with it and trying to squat the deadlift instead of doing a pull. And lastly, I've been trying to be very, very patient with my working out. So earlier this summer, my lifts were so weak, and instead of trying to get there faster, I went ahead and just stripped down my squats. I started my 5x5 squatting this summer at the beginning, after I got back in the gym, with 115 pounds. And I was just trying to move up 5 pounds a week. So going very, very light and being patient with it and making that small progress did good. Sometimes I would move up 5 pounds twice a week. I was squatting twice a week a lot of times. But I was just taking it very, very slowly and accepting the 5-pound gain from the last time. But this allowed me to just move forward simply. Because after a 3-year gap, I was not at all what I would consider a good lifter at all. I mean, I was completely out of shape. You could almost say I was a novice, even though I had a lot of the lifting skill and experience that didn't make me a novice. So it put me in a weird position where, like, there was stuff I could do that I shouldn't have been doing. I had some pec and shoulder problems because of that. In fact, I feel like after the 3-year break that I almost had learned enough of technique and mindset that I could have done a lot of really stupid things, like come back and after a month, hit 90% marks of what I was pre-injury, which would have been really stupid. And I got close to doing that, and then I did kind of get hurt and been dealing with shoulder problems for 3 or 4 months now. So that's kind of where that is. And the coolest thing about all of this, I don't say this to brag, I say this because it was an insight that I kind of had, is that I'm not even in shape. So I'm doing a lot of like single and doubles in my warm-ups because I'm so out of shape. If I was to do fives and tens, even with lightweight, I would get really, really tired really, really fast. So I'm working up in big jumps, and with not a lot of reps when I go heavier, just because I'm not hardly in shape enough to do a workout like I would like to. And what that tells me, that makes me pretty happy that I've been able to realize that I'm not in shape, but that makes me circle back around that that's how powerful all those reasons for being able to deadlift well right now are. So they're super powerful. They're taking a guy that is out of shape, and that stuff is allowing me to display a lot of strength. So I can only reason that when I actually get into shape and I can warm up with a lot more reps and just do a lot more technical work and do everything I want to do in the gym, instead of get through 2 exercises and feel gassed and go super light, to be able to really put in the kind of workouts that I used to. I think I'll be able to add a lot more muscle and a lot more strength and a lot more technical skill. So it's just showing that how much those, tactics and things I had been doing, really, really how powerful those are. And a lot of this stuff I got from just kind of the inspiration, I guess you should say, from watching JP Price, for one. He used to be 1,000-pound squatter. He got injured, got really, really messed up. I remember watching videos where he could barely walk, and he was squatting maybe the bar, is what I want to say I remember him doing. And he really, really just took his time. And he posted a lot of Instagram videos, just of taking his time getting back. And once he got himself sorted out, like, then he started adding weight to the bar very, very quickly. And I think he just had a meet, about a week ago, a powerlifting meet, and he did like a 700-pound squat, which, taking somebody that is super injured, can hardly squat the bar, and getting them back to a 700-pound squat, I found that pretty interesting. So I took that definitely weighed on me, how to get back to where I want to go with the submaximal lifting and all of that. Martinez Lisi's is another one. Watching him get injured, get hit by a car, he had a lot of issues. His body barely worked for him. He's the 2019, I think, World's Strongest Man, won that competition. Well, then he missed 18 months to 2 years, somewhere in that ballpark, of being so screwed up he could barely do anything. He was lifting very, very, very light weights as well. Maybe not on the level of JP Price, but then he came back just a couple of weeks ago and won a very stacked Rogue Invitational. It was full of a bunch of great lifters. And, looks to be in top form, which, coming back with no competitions in 18 months and I think he beat 3 other World's Strongest Men title holders, a lot of other guys that are right there knocking on the door of getting that title. Just seeing his patience and his attention to detail, which is something I'm trying to adopt. So those guys have been like really big inspirations for what I'm trying to do. So I guess today's parking lot lesson, as the windows fog up and people are looking at me wondering what the hell I'm doing in the parking lot of the gym, there's construction workers kind of looking at me, is that you can be super screwed up and make it back. I started back, couldn't hardly deadlift 135. Those other guys started back at worse spots than me and did way better than I have. But, everybody's lifts are their lifts. But it was just a good lesson and reminder today that, you can make it back from a lot of stuff. And that's where I'm at right now. So today's a good day. I'm going to go find food and probably sleep and ache the rest of the day, but it's good to have earned that pain and that ache.